So, what are human factors? Aren't they just common sense? The short answer is no. But for the long answers, human factor is a scientific study of how people interact with the system, separated into three parts: physiological, psychological, and cultural human factors. It evolved because we as a human needed to improve or to look for effectiveness and efficiency. And what do effectiveness and efficiency actually mean here? It's basically about how efficient or effective a person as a subject acts to accomplish that specific tasks, and human factor objective is to study and find out the problem in logical thoughts and order. From a designer perspective, this lets you detect and solve problems logically. We need concrete evidence to support our design, and human factors give you the data to support your ideas way better than any other methods. In this video, I'll be focusing on physical human factors, which consist of 6 core topics: user classification, task analysis, disability, anthropometry, workspace, and human limitation. First off, let's start with user classification. User classification is a process of sorting data about people into distinct groups based on research. We can categorize users by many different filters, such as age, height, weight, occupation, or behavior. Even the other 5 human factors can act as a filter to help you out. You don't need an extremely specific goal before you start classifying. You can study people first, and as the data narrows down, you will notice a crucial point to focus on. This process often leads to a user persona, an imaginary individual who represents your actual findings. This gives us a concrete subject we can look for the most plausible opportunities in design. Moving on to task analysis. During this step, we observe how many different groups approach a specific task, which often reveals opportunities for a new design solution. For example, imagine a construction worker, an office worker, and a baby. Let's give them a three tasks: hammering down a nail, operating a computer, and playing with toys. The construction workers and office workers could handle the nail and the computer decently, but they can't play with the toys the way a baby does. Likewise, a baby would probably just try to chew on the hammer and or the computer wires. The purpose of task analysis isn't to focus on what someone can do, but to figure out how to make it work for them. And that's exactly why a toy hammer is made of soft, fluffy plastic instead of a heavy metal. Disability. Disabilities are generally categorized into two types: permanent and temporary. Permanent disabilities are long-term conditions. They might be present from birth or caused by illness, aging, or serious accidents, resulting in physical, sensory, or cognitive impairments. On the other hand, temporary disabilities are short-term conditions that affect someone for a limited period, like someone wearing a cast for a broken limb or recovering from their eye surgery or something like that. Even though this condition they eventually pass, they still completely change the way the user interacts with their surroundings and must be considered in the design process. By understanding both point of view, designer can create an inclusive solution for a much wider range of users. Moving on to anthropometry. Mm, wait, I don't think a stickman would work here. Let me just... Okay, much better. So, anthropometry is split into two types: static and dynamic. Static anthropometry measures the body in a fixed position, like standing or sitting. And for dynamic, they measure the body parts while in movement, their length, portion, and their range of motion. This data tells designers the optimal measurements for living spaces, products, and furnitures. For instance, when designing a handle, the data on the hand side and grip ensures they can feel comfortable for diverse users, or it helps you to determine the exact arrangement and dimension of a desk setup to get a perfect or a comfortable angles for prolonged work sessions. Workspace. Workspace is quite similar when compared to anthropometry, but it focuses on the amount of space a person needs to comfortably and efficiently do a task. While dynamic anthropometry studies body movement itself, workspace usually looks at how people position themselves and behave within their environment. It is highly personal and experience based. because everyone has a different habit and comfort zone. Workspace consider both horizontal and vertical to filter out the necessary function and usage of the space. Horizontal movement covers side to side, and vertically just involve upward and downward actions, like standing, bending, stretching, or adjusting postures. Understanding these zones ensures user can naturally work without feeling restricted. For example, some people like to stretch while working, rest their head on the table, lean backward, or swing their arm to relax. Designing with workspace behavior in mind directly improve comfort, efficiency, and the overall experience. Now, moving on to the last topic, human limitation. Humans have both physical and mental limitation, including fatigue, stress, strength, memory, and attention span. We can divide the physical limit to three major categories, which are power, endurance, and flexibility. Power is how much workload you can handle, endurance is how long you can handle it, and flexibility is a gatekeeper. Some people simply cannot complete a certain task because their body aren't flexible enough for the motion. Limitations are more than just physical capacity. They are about posture. There are many postures that the human just can do, cannot do, or should not do. Today, the shouldn't do posture happen all the time. Because a certain slouch or awkward position feel convenient in the moment, we use them frequently, which ultimately leads to a lasting health problem. So, after learning all this, you might begin to wonder, where do I even start? Honestly, just start with whichever topic you like or you might have your interest in. While there are six areas seem to be like different at first, they actually coexist and constantly support each other. Understanding one of those naturally connects you to the next, letting you see a problem and solution from entirely new perspective. Just remember, human factors are not simply common sense. You can never fully assume or predict a human behavior without thorough observation and research. What seems obvious to you might be completely different for someone else because everyone experiences comfort, movement, and thinking differently. The most important thing is to stay observant and keep questioning the world around you. Sometimes, the most random question can spark a completely new idea. You might not realize it, but almost every occupation and daily routine revolve around these six topics, not just because they are essential theories, but because they are all connected to one thing, human beings. And since humans live, think, and interact so differently, keeping people at the center is what makes design work and everyday experiences truly work.